course, we're going to talk about Prismatic Evolutions, the new set coming out this week, coming out on Thursday on TCG Live. As far as new sets go, um, if you're a competitive player, not the most to look forward to. I don't know. What do you think?
No. Yeah, not really. Not really that much to look forward to. I mean, there's the Badoo things will change, I think, for sure. Like, I mean, one of the things that we've talked about, is that Reggie Drago, as far as results in Japan go, is basically none. Although, well, hold on, let me just actually confirm. Okay, I take it back. Don't listen to me. It was old format. I was gonna say there was the Korean League season 2 that happened. Well, hang on, it says they are playing Japan standard, but I don't.
Where are you seeing this on Limitless?
Alright, there's no Badoo. There's no Badoo in this format. No, they're playing a Badoo-less format, which is what I thought. And then I was like, wait, I thought I saw some tweet about a Reggie Drago deck winning with a Badoo in it. And for a second, I was like, was it the Korean League? But it's not. Reggie Drago did win the Korean League, but it's current format that will be played at Birmingham. No Badoo yet, but that's basically it. Like, it doesn't. There's not like a huge bunch of new decks coming out of
Yeah,
what's it
it's
called, and
like
there's a lot still to
it,
figure out.
it's like the
So
format. It definitely feels like it's going to change, right? Just because of Badu being a pretty powerful card, but there's not like
yeah.
a lot of exciting things to try. If like normally new set, it's like, oh, there's like 3 or 4 new archetypes I get to try with the new EXs that are out, right? We don't really have that this time.
But yeah, the bigger talk around the whole set was kind of I don't know, I guess like the collector side of things has been having
Yeah,
the most talk
ability
about
to
it.
get cards.
Yeah.
This is a side of things we don't really talk about, right? Because we're a competitive podcast. Like we focus on competitive Pokemon TCG, playing the actual card game. So things like this rarely have that big of an impact. And it really, as far as just focusing on competitive strictly, especially because this set, competitive wise, does not have very many good cards, is going to have a near zero impact. You could spend $1 and get every competitive card
Yeah.
you need from this set, right?
Possibly.
For Badu, for Reggie Draga, or what's it called, Reggie Gigas, right? And that's probably going to be
Yeah.
$1. But there's obviously like there's not that much crossover between Pokemon collectors and people who play, but there's a lot of crossover between people who play and collectors, right? Like there's a lot of people
Yeah.
who play who are also always going to be looking to buy packs and open a set, right? Probably like I would say you and I are probably in the more smaller percentage of people who like I mean I don't mind picking up a pack every now and then. I don't think you could name the last time you bought a booster pack yourself,
Yeah,
right?
I can't think of it.
um so it's definitely something that's going to have an impact on a good amount of people who play the game from
Yeah.
that side of things.
Yeah, definitely for sure. And it is kind of nice. I can't remember what is like the last, because it's definitely happened in the past where there was a set that was like super hyped. Well, the thing is like the collecting side of Pokemon wasn't as big or really had an impact on people who wanted to get cards for the sake of collecting, even until like post COVID. I feel like pre-COVID, people who
Yeah.
did just only collect Pokemon cards, the amount of collectors who wanted cards, I feel like it never really,
Yeah.
like they could always get whatever cards they wanted. Basically,
Yeah.
everyone could get whatever cards they wanted. Well, for the competitive players, it was actually worse pre-COVID because things were more expensive for sure in terms of singles, but it didn't have anything to do with like collectors. It was just because there was like less product being opened and probably less kind of an ease. Like TCG player, for instance, wasn't
Just
what it
less cards were
was.
being made, less cards were being
Yeah,
sold, right? The hobby was smaller.
definitely. But yeah,
Um,
but I feel like probably actually the amount of people who are buying the cards, collectors, has caused the print of cards to be increased to the rate that it has. But competitive players, I mean, the collectors don't want what the competitors want, so they inflated the amount of Pokemon cards in the space, and it's just kind of been a plus for the collectors or for the players because everything's super cheap because the collectors do not want what we want most of the
yeah.
time. But it's nice that this whole Prismatic Evolutions scarcity that's going on, it just seems like it's going to be, people are like concerned with being able to get the ETBs, I guess, is like kind of the big thing, right? And I've seen a couple Twitter videos out there on Twitter of people like showing off their castles of ETBs they built in their living rooms with all the ones that they have gotten through, I assume, from their like allocation from their distributor or whatever. But yeah, people have been posting videos on Twitter of all the ETBs that they have. Um, it is kind of like nice that this scalping, hoarding, whatever you want to call it, especially when it's being done with like a little bit more malicious intent, it doesn't affect the competitive players. It's nice that it doesn't affect, it doesn't overly affect us because yeah, our Badoos are still 25 cents. And even if the, like you said, even if the Umbreons are playable, even then, the highest it would probably get would be like $5 or something, right? It wouldn't get too crazy.
I remembered seeing this figure at some point, and I went back to look at it, and I found it here on Poke Beach, talking about like how many cards are out there and have been printed.
Oh, okay.
This is from 2024, and this is the 2023 numbers. Um, so I guess like this March we'll get some kind of confirmation of what the numbers are looking like. But in the Pokemon TCG's lifetime, there have been 64.8 billion cards produced. Um, and that's before, and this article says before 2019 Pokemon was producing an average of 1.5 to 2 billion cards a year, and then in that 2023 year they produced 11.9 billion cards, so it's like a massive increase.
Yeah, and that's basically all so it was a huge increase.
Huge increase of
And that's
cards,
all
so there's a
driven really by
lot more
the
cards out there now than there were in 2019, which just so happens to be also the time whenever like Unbroken Bonds and Team Up and all that were coming out, I think, right?
yeah, so that was all driven through, like, by the hype during COVID when everyone was buying Pokemon and getting into Pokemon,
Yeah.
and coming out of that, yeah, the collecting scene got huge, for a couple of different reasons, and then, and I feel like that is what has impacted the competitive side the most, that there's just so much product being opened, and the collectors don't want the cards that the competitors want on
Yeah.
average, so it just makes everything we want really cheap because there's just so much of it.
Yeah, so it's like for it's honestly, if you're someone who just wants to play the game and doesn't care about opening packs, this has just been a positive thing for you because the playable cards are super super cheap. But you know, some people want to bling out their decks, and so those like, yeah, I mean, if you wanted to build, we talked about Umbreon EX, right? If you wanted to build an Umbreon EX deck, just a regular one, you know, it's going to cost you basically nothing, you know, what, $20 or something like that. But if you want to
Yeah.
build a max rarity Umbreon EX deck, oh boy, you're gonna have to take out a second mortgage on your house or something.
It'll definitely be pretty expensive for sure. Yeah. So it's all kind of come to like be just a positive for the competitors. And I guess I would say it kind of is a negative for the collectors because I mean, dude, some people just want to like be able to just like kind of like chill and collect their cards and like enjoy the process of getting, going to Target and buying an ETB and then opening their packs, trying to get their chase card. But now it's like really hard to do that because for sets like this, and even if it felt like kind of like Surging Sparks, like everything is just sold out. So like the people who are really who I feel bad for are like the hobby collectors, like the true the true Pokemon card fans. They just want to try and pull their fuller Umbreon or whatever, right? That's all they want. They're not in it
Yeah,
to make a quick buck or like yeah, like I said, like the people who are like taking videos in their living room where they have like hundreds of ETBs. 'Cause I've seen a couple of those, and they're just trying to like flex on people that they have hundreds of Prismatic Evolutions ETBs. Like I don't know, that stuff is just so weird to me. It's so I was gonna say dystopian, but I don't know. It is a little. It feels weird. It feels weird that people actually operate that way in like such a toxic way, where they're trying to like I don't know. It's part of it's like flexing. He said the crypto bro kind of does fit there. The way people act about it for sure, and a lot of that was like that's a lot of people who entered the collector space over COVID was
yeah,
that kind of mentality entered the Pokemon TCG space. I mean, but that's the thing with like when something grows like the way Pokemon has, like a lot of you're gonna get a lot of everything, a lot of the good, but you have to have more of the bad to have more good. So there's no real way really to avoid it, to be honest. And that's kind of where we are here with this prismatic evolutions. The product seems to be already super scarce despite it not even being released yet.
hey, listen, I'm just glad I've now got a kid who's like at the age where he can have a Happy Meal. So now we can go to McDonald's. He can have a Happy Meal. He'll get his chicken nuggets, and Dad'll get to take home the Charizard McDonald's box and put it on the shelf to display for forever. Yeah, but it's just it's a crazy time right now in the Pokemon TCG space. It's a good thing for the players that like it's mostly unaffected if you're just worried about playing, but I know there's like a lot of people who play, they just want to get themselves some packs to open up. I don't mind when I go to like grocery shop at Walmart or something like that. If I'm checking out and I see that they have some Pokemon cards, I'll grab a pack every once in a while. And I think that's like something that just should be available to do, right?
Be
And that's
nice, yeah.
but it's the shelves have been empty since like early December at our local stores and stuff like that.
Yeah, definitely. And yeah, I mean, there's definitely like I think this one is Like we said, Journey Together already sold out in the Pokemon Center, but I feel like maybe the Pokemon Center stuff like always sells out pretty fast, doesn't it? Like, can you ever like
No.
you show up the day after and get a Pokemon Center ETB from some sets?
Yeah, for quite a while. Yeah. That was like a big point I think a lot of people have been trying to make is like it is kind of going to be crazy if this is the new normal, right? So like Surging Sparks, it had the big Pikachu chase. Okay, sure. Makes sense. It gets
Well, I
up
think a
in
lot of
price
people
a little
were.
bit, right? The Prismatic Evolutions, it's a special set,
Yeah.
so there's no booster boxes. The Umbreon, people are thinking is just going to be this crazy expensive card, which it obviously looks like it's going to be, and mostly comparing it to Evolving Skies, where that Umbreon is now this like crazy expensive card. Evolving Skies booster boxes are like over $1,000 now, which is so insane. Um, and so it's like people are trying to like speculate on this stuff super early. It feels like now it's created this like fear of missing out. I don't want to miss out on these releases. And its Journey Together comes out. Most of the people don't even know who the heck N is on the front of the box. Half the people probably don't even know what a Zoroark is either that are on the front of the Pokemon Center ETB. But they're just like, I know that it's Pokemon cards and it's going to sell out, so I need to buy it, you know?
Yeah, yeah, the last couple sets, that's literally what Lorelai said when I talked to her about it. She said the last couple sets, like Surging Sparks was a surprise with how popular it was. Prismatic Evolutions is predictably to be super popular. It's like
Yeah.
Journey. It seems like Journey Together is kind of riding off the hype of those two sets.
I think it will come down a little bit.
I think, if I'm not mistaken, I think Scarlet and Violet was basically the same way. Where like Scarlet and Violet was initially a lot of people wanted it, but then it was like, wait, there's something really here. And then the following sets did really bad in terms of just like people wanting the product, like the sets after the first Scarlet and Violet set. Um, I don't know. I guess we'll see. I mean, owner Pokemon are returning, which I think is probably a pretty big attraction for a certain section of the collector
I
base.
think most people, the most,
Full art stuff, right? There's always full arts.
I don't know what it is, man. I think it's like the people who are causing the price to increase do not care about that type of stuff. You know, they just care how
People
much
who
the
are.
card is worth. Reshiram, Ins Reshiram, that's coming as like a promo card in booster boxes.
Oh, I haven't
Did
seen
you
this.
even see this?
No.
Let me see if you can actually can you even find the I can't even find the booster box posting on Pokemon Center's website anymore. But basically they said that the booster box is going to come each booster box is going to come with a promo card in it. And
There's
it's
the ones that are
like a box topper effectively.
ones that come from the Pokemon Center or all of them.
So that's what everyone thought at first, but was it Poke Beach maybe that said something. It just looks like that every Journey Together booster box is going to have like a promo card, like box topper type card in it, which is
Sure.
actually kind of cool to see that they're doing.
They've
They
never done
actually
that before, right? This is the first.
a long time ago. Actually, Wizards did it. I actually don't know if Nintendo or Pokemon has ever done it, but Wizards of the Coast did it with like Skyridge. There's like there were box toppers, but they were like jumbo version box toppers of the crystal Pokemon.
Is it gonna be in the booster box, or is this gonna be one of those things where, like, people are gonna order a booster box from a site expecting it, and it's not gonna show
It
up?
should be in the booster box.
Okay.
I mean, that's what would make sense to me based on what we
Yeah.
saw. Here's the Poke Beach post about the Ins Reshiram. It says each booster box of the set is now called an enhanced booster box and includes copies of Ins Reshiram promo with a Journey Together stamp. This means the box toppers are back. Price of the booster boxes will remain the same.
Interesting.
And I think this is like we're just assuming this is the card. This is one of the cards that got revealed at Worlds.
Is there gonna
Um,
be non-enhanced booster boxes as well moving forward?
it
Oh,
does
includes
I,
one bonus. Okay, yeah, there, it says it right there.
each booster box in this set is
Yeah.
now called an enhanced booster box. And
Maybe it's
right
just,
there,
like.
yeah. Prismatic Evolutions, I think is also like a set that's getting releases throughout the year. So hopefully throughout the year, like things are gonna be not so wild and crazy and like people will be able to get their hands on it. That would be one thing I'd say if you're out there and you really want to like just have a chance to pull one of the crazy special illustration rares, just be patient, right? Like give it time. Don't go like people who are willing to go out and pay hundreds of dollars for an elite trainer box, or it's like it's fueling the issue, right? They're not.
Yeah.
I'm not going to call those people part of the problem because they just want the cards, right? But they're fueling the problem. You know what I mean?